Hello everyone, Luis and I are going to do our presentation on tennis today. According to most historians, tennis originated in France in the 12th century, but was called jeu de paume. Racket only came into use in the 16th century, and the game began to be called tennis. It was popular in England and in France. Also, balls and rackets have been changed and improved many times as the first racket was in vogue. The current rules have been promulgated in 1924 by the International Tennis Federation. They have remained remarkably stable for 80 years. There are actually two exceptions. The first one is the adoption of a tiebreak, and the second one is the adoption of an electronic review of a point. This allows the player to challenge the line, as it permits to accurately judge if a ball is in or out.
Thank you, Julia. The following chart shows major sports events market share in terms of revenue for 9 sports. Tennis arrives in 5th position with 8.3% of the market share compared to the other sports represented here. However, we have to keep in mind that the NBA generated 2.3 billion and it's not represented here.
Thank you, Luis. And what about tennis players' salary compared to other sports?
Good point, Julia. Well, the following table shows the average wages for professional sportsmen in 2009 to 2010, and tennis is well paid compared to other sports representing here, as the salary is very close to a soccer player.
Thank you, Luis. And what about tennis commercialization and source of revenue?
Good question, Julia. Well, the tournament program definitely have the highest average share of revenues, with 38%. These revenues mainly come from the 4 Grand Slams, the US Open, the French Open, the Australian Open and Wimbledon. Another way of creating profit is through sponsorship. It's a very effective way to advertise their products and to generate economic profit and create goodwill. Indeed, each player has a sponsor for his sports and his shoes and another one for his racket. An example is this: Andy Murray has Head and Adidas. Also, people associate a product to a player, which encourages them to wear their favourite player's brand. And this is a way to increase awareness with sponsorship, brand building and propensity to purchase.
And would you have any information about people who work in the tennis industry?
Well, the following graph shows how much people who work in the tennis industry earn an average per year in the USA after taxes. A general manager or club manager have the highest average salary with $46,000 a year, and seasoned professionals have the lowest average with about $4,000 a year. We can see that there are many different jobs related to tennis. Also, there are people from every social class who work in the tennis industry. Indeed, there's a high difference between a club manager and a court maintenance staff. However, they all work in the same place in the same atmosphere.
That was relevant information, Luis. And what about the governance structure?
That's a tricky one, Julia. The ITF is the governing body of the World Tennis Association, which controls all the laws of tennis and is made of 205 countries. Each of these countries have their own national league, and this national leagues provide their own way of ranking their players. The ATP protects the interest of male professionals and runs the men's ranking, and then the WTA protects the women's rights and controls the ranking too. The following table shows governing bodies' role in tournaments organisation.
My last question is there any current issue facing the sport?
I can think of a current issue, which is the French Open. As the central stadium and the whole site are quite small, it's very difficult to get tickets and to organise the event. This is why the FFT had decided to renovate the actual site. They finally decided to enlarge it only during the event, so just enlarge the structure and then remove it afterwards, which pretty much means they get 5,000 new seats and a bigger court will be built. Also, I personally think that for every big tournament or a big Grand Slam, a retractable roof is essential. Also, it has to become essential to have an indoor court such as Wimbledon and Melbourne, which is a huge investment, around £240 million. A retractable roof will be installed on centre court in Roland Garros around 2016, 2017. So that's the only issues I can think of right now, really.
Thank you, Luis. And I heard something about the fact that the calendar is pretty busy.
Oh yeah, I fully forgot about the calendar. The player that complained about the fact that the ATP tournaments calendar is very busy, especially in summer. The clay season is very short and 7 tournaments are played in only 7 weeks. The problems for players is that it's very hard physically and mentally for them as they have to travel around so much. And for spectators, I just think they might lose their love for watching the game. Indeed, we can have faithful spectators by organising many tournaments without any break and with tired, hammed, dissatisfied or even missing players. This weekend of tournaments also increased the number of gave-up matches.
Thank you very much, Louise, for all this information, and I hope you all learned a lot about tennis today.